Get reps. If you don't get reps, there's very little chance of being good at anything. You have to get reps. And so today was about getting reps behind the neck presses just to feel that position, getting comfortable behind the neck. So we went, I go, you go, 20 kilos, 30 kilos, 40 kilos, 50 kilos, 60 kilos, 70 kilos, 80 kilos, 10 reps at each weight. And we went all the way up. The top weight that I was able to handle for the 10 reps was 80 kilos, which is not something that I'm very proud of. They're about on the second minute or 90 seconds by the time we changed the weights and the other person had gone. So relatively low recovery. By the time we got to the 80, definitely breathing nice and hard. And yeah, I guess we got a few reps done by that stage. And then 90 kilos, I didn't want to go. I could have got the 10, but I didn't want to turn it into too much of a rest pause. I did some rest pause at the 80 kilos. I think this is the 80. So this is where my legs and squats are at the moment. What I'm happy about, as I've been saying on the other videos, is I've never been able to squat with my knees in those positions. So a slight bit of heel elevation and these would look really pretty, but I don't mind too much. Anthony's trying to get some better cover shots for our videos. And so they're not very explosive, they're not very strong, but it is nice. It's by far the heaviest weight that I've dealt with so far since getting the squat rack back. And it felt good to have that weight nice and smooth. That tells me if I can get 10 of them after all those other ones, then I can probably get 100 for 10. I'd probably need 120, 130 for 10 to be at best ever, or close to best ever. Probably 130 for 10 would put me close to being able to get 155, 157 for one. That's the best I've done. But that was with a belt. I'm not planning to use a belt. Anthony did the 80 as well. I gave him a little bit of a nudge, but I wanted him to feel the weight. His posture's good. He's holding the position, so I was happy to see that. Then we stripped some of the weight off and did a contrast. So we went from 80 back to 30, 80 back to 40. And Anthony was really, I think, proud of himself and happy to experience that. Yeah, he can squat to heavier than he thought. And I think he's very excited to squat double body weight with me in 2022. We were chatting about our goals, and it seems very doable for him to double body weight back squat in 2022 with the methods and systems that we're talking about using. And I haven't ever beltless back squatted double body weight. So it's kind of funny, like he's a tech guy, engineer, and I'm very confident in him doing that, even though I've never done it. But that's the thing for 2022. We're in. So here was 90 kilos. It felt okay. I just really don't have that much fire in the legs at this stage. They were a bit burnt out from the session, but definitely could have ground out the reps to get to 10 reps, but we're early in the year, right? This is the first of the year, and it's about just feeling good, feeling comfortable, building for tomorrow's session. Squats are something that really do respond well to high reps, in my experience. At a bunch of events, we've done 20 RM squats, and often within a couple of weeks of working on a bunch of 20s, people will hit a new best. You might know about them through the, I think it's Perry Reader, breathing squats. 20 rep squats is quite a legendary thing, and effectively that's the kind of stimulus that we were getting today, even though we're doing 10s, but we're doing them on short recovery, lots of sets. So it's that kind of stimulus of the high rep work. And Anthony really enjoyed the feeling of the contrast, where he'd gone heavier than he thought that he would be able to go, and then he could feel, okay, well, yeah, this feels like a paperweight now with 30, 40 kilos, which is great. Anthony wants to put on some weight, and squats are one of the best ways to stimulate the body to want to get heavier. And I'm very, very confident in the progress that he's going to make, and that confidence in him transfers to me. Like, if I know that he can do it, if he's really consistent with this, I think he's committed to squatting hard twice a week and maybe have some periods of squatting every day. I'm planning to do pretty much squat every day all the way through, but I'm not married to that idea. I can squat in other ways, and it doesn't really matter to me whether I squat every day or whatnot. I just need to get the strength. So I am talking about a 200 kilo back squat now. If I do that, then that 100 kilo snatch will definitely be there. 101 kilo, to be able to hit that on any given day, on consecutive days with a 200 kilo back squat, that will definitely be there. So that's the number now. Sounds a bit ridiculous, feels a bit ridiculous, since I've worked so hard to get to 150, 155 kilo squats over the years, and it's kind of built a bit of a barrier around that number in my mind. But yeah, so then we went into some banded presses. I really, really like these banded presses. Anthony battling away. I think it's 30 kilos there. I think I went up to 40 kilos. My best on these is 60 kilos. And at that time, I could press 82.5 kilos in the standing press. But the bands really seem to help to bust the plateau, be more explosive, drive really hard out of the bottom position and lock off hard. So we did a couple of heavier ones and then reps again. So if the squat is a push for the lower body, the main push, well, then the standing press or the bench press would be the main push for the upper body. And I think it will also respond very nicely to doing some higher rep work. So that's what we're doing here. We're getting reps, getting feeling for the movement, grooving in the pattern. I challenged Anthony then to do 20 reps with the bar, and I thought they would get them, but the bar had other things in mind. You can see there's kind of a different sticking point. It's a little bit lower, like it doesn't have that real explosion off the chest. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that comes together. Not worried at all about him taking that to failure. And then since he did 20 reps, I thought, well, I better do 20 reps as well. And yes, it looks easy. It looks like the first 10 reps felt like I'm just moving my arms up and down. Like this feels like nothing. In contrast, after doing the banded work, felt like nothing. But by the end of 20 reps, it still burns. It still burns like crazy. And that looked like nothing, but it didn't feel like it. So then we went into the Nordics, and again, just feeling the positions. We only did 2 sets on these. They felt better. They felt better than the first day. All I want to do with these at the moment is, again, like give my tendons some stimulus, not do anything crazy, not really test what's the best I can come up with. You notice like I'm just feeling into the positions, using as minimal weight on the bench, just supporting with my thumbs. And then this is sort of practicing being able to get power out of the bottom. It doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but I am actually pulling as hard as not as hard as I can, but very hard with the heels into the bar. So Anthony actually surprised himself. I'm sorry, I'm standing in front of it, but Anthony got some pretty good reps here as far as touching the chest to the bench. There's always that degree of like hip hinge, hip pike. The further forward he goes, like the better the reps are, but he really surprised himself with these. He's been doing them on the car, and the car is like a more difficult position to get it from than these. So yeah, I don't have the strength for those kind of hover reps yet. I think I could bang some out, sort of kipping out the bottom, but again, no hurry, take your time. I have flared up my hamstring tendons in the past going really hard with these, so challenging myself to be patient. And the bar moved a little bit on Anthony's first one there. So it's 90 kilos on the bar, and he actually shifted it only on one end. But instantaneously, you can have very high forces on these. And then we did like a little back off lengthen, kind of love to the tendons set of RDLs. And I'm really happy that these are just feeling nice and smooth. When you get those high rep RDLs, you build tolerance into the hamstrings. We could go for more range of motion, but once the hamstrings are tolerant to fast and long RDLs, then the chances of having a hamstring injury become much less. So these were kind of, giving back a bit, giving a bit of love to the tendons after the Nordics. They do feel like very, very tough on the tendons and the back of the knees. That's definitely where I feel it, is directly in those tendons. So this is again like a bit of sort of love to the lower back, pump to the posterior chain, using the bar as a stretch more than anything. Wanting a little bit of rounding in the lower back. Build resilience. Ideally, you can get buckled over a bit by a back squat and not break. So it's a bit of a stimulus, like a low bar back squat for a power lifter. I haven't been strong in this position, and I think that just building it up with a really low weight will give my back more resilience, so I don't get setbacks with the lower back as I start to get to heavier weight. Anthony, feeling the movement, he was doing it more as like a hip hinge. You can see the difference in this versus more squatting down. We were talking about try it with more of a squat and just feel the positions. If you're able to get out of those sort of positions with 100 kilos on your back, then you definitely have a strong back. You need that sort of strength for really good acceleration, but also for wrestling, for those sort of grappling things where you might be standing up and grabbing someone, or like stone lifting in strongman. You want to be able to get down into those positions and get out. So really good bracing one, and then bit of anterior chain to finish. This was a nice little challenge. This was quite spicy. So feeling the L-sit position is in 1 time speed. It was good. I can feel these muscles coming back online as well. We went sort of I go, you go. Anthony has been giving himself excuses and other, ways of doing the L-sit, and I didn't give him that today. And we realized that, it's his shoulders and his triceps that are holding him back. So it's, variation going between kind of like the V-sit posture and the L-sit. But made Anthony just push. These are accelerated now, but getting off the ground for 2, 3, 4 seconds, that was the challenge for him today. This variation actually works for the arms pretty hard. It works sort of short range triceps. So you get really, really good tricep activation when you do those transitions. And making Anthony work for it. I think, he's in the game now. Once he can get 10 seconds in that position, then he'll have some more confidence to progress. L-sit, V-sit rocks. They're quite intense. But this was a really, really good way to finish a good session. Kind of give some love to